Live FM
94.0 on the radio,
on your mobile,
and online.
And welcome back to the Mahtab Aziz Celebrity Lawyer Show on Revive FM 94.0. We have still with us, thankfully, Sal Bashir. Sal, I'll just ask you, we've touched upon this previously about various artists that have been influenced by Elvis and how they had or saw success as a result of that. One artist, in fact, which many people may not know about, but you have known the extent of Elvis's influence on him, and that is, of course, Buddy Holly, because Buddy Holly, in fact, started off as a country and western singer, I believe, at a very young age, and he actually was the opening act on one of Elvis's performances. And thereafter, he changed his music and started playing, rock and roll music, and that's when he was discovered by a talent scout at a very young age, and he was signed up, and the rest is history. Buddy Holly became a very famous and successful singer. Tragically, his life ended very short. What can you tell us about Buddy Holly and Elvis's influence on him?
Well, Buddy Holly, as you said, he did start out as a country and western singer, and they were a trio. And then they saw that Elvis introduced some drums into his act, because originally Elvis started out as a trio as well, which is what Buddy Holly was copying, on bass and rhythm guitar and electric guitar. So when he saw Elvis introduced a drummer, DJ Fontana, he said that sounds much more of a fuller sound. So Buddy Holly did introduce the drums into his act after seeing Elvis do that. But what was intriguing and interesting about Buddy Holly in his short career was the fact that he could write his own songs. And he was one of the first rock and roll songwriters, and his songs are still remembered and revered to this day. And as you said, very sadly, his life was cut short in '59 in that plane crash. Yeah.
Very sad. Very talented young man, and died. I believe he was 22 when he died. So very tragic to hear that.
Yeah, 22, 23.
Yeah. But there you go, another example of Elvis's just astounding, incredible influence on other artists, and of course we even had the likes of Rod Stewart claiming that Elvis had in fact influenced him to some extent. Many people.
Yes, well, you mentioned Rod Stewart. One of the albums that Rod Stewart came out with in the early 80s was a takeoff of one of Elvis's albums, 50 Million Fans Can't Be Wrong, when Elvis was standing in the gold lame suit. Yes. And his image was replicated many, many times on the album sleeve. Rod Stewart did something very similar. I think he was wearing a red suit on one of his albums. So he's sort of paying homage to the king.
That's right. That's right. And, I just mentioned before the break, Sal, that I sort of be making little requests to you, and out of all the repertoire of songs that you're very able to perform, I'd like to ask you to perform perhaps a few lines of Elvis's "Always on My Mind," because at this particular time, people are having to isolate and not see perhaps people that they'd normally be very used to seeing, and perhaps I thought that might be an appropriate song to get an idea of how your great ability to perform these songs comes over. Possibly, is that something that you can do for us?
Well, I'll try. It might not sound too great, but maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have. Little things I should have said and done, I just never took the time. You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind. There you
Oh, fantastic. That's really, really great, Sal. I'm sure that, listeners.
You put me on the spot, you know.
Well, you perform magnificently. You know, I cannot say anything. That you've done it very well. And of course, in your show,
Well, you've
often,
seen quite a few shows in your time, you know.
yes, that's right. And I see that obviously in your shows, you'll often get people requesting songs, and you have this ability to just sort of get them out of the hat and sing them. And it's a very great talent and a very great ability that you have. And I'm sure that perhaps after this COVID situation does sort of calm down, and
Thank you.
I really look forward to seeing you perform live. As I said, I brought guests to your shows previously, and they're just blown away by your incredible talent. And let's hope that you can entertain many more thousands of people.
Yeah.
In terms of hopefully when you will start up, will you be doing some shows at perhaps some well-known venues? Or will you do advertise?
Thank you.
Yep. You advertise these venues on your Facebook. On your Facebook or your website, so that people can come along to them.
Well, when the system starts up again, and all the gigs and everything else, and the confirmation from the managers and the proprietors and venue organizers, when they are ready to book, then they will be advertised on the website. A lot of it will be advertised on my social media pages as well. And a great platform for that is Facebook. I use that quite often to promote the shows and stay in touch with the friends, fans, and acquaintances as well. But you see, what happened last year, I was booking, cancelling, postponing, booking, cancelling, postponing. And so it was just quite wrong. So what I've decided to do is that at the point when Boris Johnson and the government and the science allows us to go back to the stage in some capacity, then I will be advertising the shows. And I'm pretty sure that the way it's going, it looks pretty much like May or June, but certainly by August, I imagine that I will be back on stage in some sort of capacity. So it's not just myself, it's a lot of my friends in the entertainment and arts industries. They will be back as well. And please, folks, just remember, that we've been thrown under a bus. Come out and support us. Come and see the shows. And I think by that time, people will be absolutely gagging to go out and enjoy themselves and dance and have a great time. Once they've got that vaccine pumped into their arm, there's not so much of the fear factor to worry about. Yes. And at that point, I think we'll have herd immunity by August, which is a term the government don't like to hear. And everybody will be feeling much more calmer about the situation, not so fearful about making contact and shaking hands. We're not a nation of wearing masks. We're not a nation of elbowing and fist and doing the old fist bump and everything like that. Yeah. We're contact people. We're human beings. So the sooner we get back to that better safely, then the better.
Yes, great. And on that sort of positive note, thank you very much, Sal, for being my guest today. And we very much look forward to you resuming your live performances, hopefully, about summertime. And thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm sure I'll get more requests to have you back on again and get jealous again. So thanks for that, Sal.
I want to say, Mahtab, that thank you very much to Revive FM, to all the organisers, all the managers and everybody involved behind the scenes for allowing me to come on your shows several times. Sure. So thank you so very much for that. I appreciate it.
Sure. Great. Thank you, Sal. And that's it for the Mahtab Aziz Celebrity Lawyer Show. Till next time, on Monday, 5 o'clock is Revive FM on 95.0.